What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream on this lovely Friday evening where I am. How you guys feeling today? I think this might be the first stream that... First of all, can you hear me? Yeah, I think we're good volume-wise. This might be the first live stream that I have actually done where Caspa is having a good day. So, don't be surprised if we get a red candle for the rest of the day. It seems to be the way things happen here for my streams. But also, make sure you guys pay your bar tabs on your way in or on your way out. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and helps the channel out. But at 10,000 subscribers, we are going to give away 10,000 Caspa, which is worth about $900 right now, and it'll be worth a lot more at the top of the market. So make sure, if you have not subscribed already, get yourself subscribed so that you can have a chance, when we get to that point, to win yourself 10,000 Caspa. So let's jump right in. I have a few things I want to show you guys, and then we'll just kind of hang out and answer some questions. So get your questions in, get your comments in. Wyatt, Abel, man from Bogota, the What Ups, Nick, welcome in. I appreciate you guys for interacting already. We'll get to you guys in a second. First things first, though. This morning, we actually did a video, crypto pumps, for those of you guys who don't know, set up, I think, six or seven of us. What was it here? So 7 of us, and we actually sent Caspa. We were each in a different country, sent Caspa back and forth to each other, just showing the speed and basically how easy it is, to transact globally without any permissions, in between telling you what you can and can't do with your money and no waiting time. So I kind of want to show you guys. It's only like a minute long before we start today. And I'm going to pull up my internet real quick so that you guys can see it. I'm going to take myself off the screen as well. And I will be back with you in just a moment. Enjoy.
Everyone know what to do. Everyone know what to do.
Send him 5 cast to Cat Daddy.
Let's start.
Gone.
Done.
Yep.
Sending 5 Caspa to Paulo in Brazil.
I'm waiting for that, man. Just confirm.
Ask for my thumbprint. There we go. Sent.
Okay. Let me send it to Nigeria.
I'm waiting.
It's done.
Nice.
Okay, received. So I'm sending to Romania. Okay. Done.
Wow.
Nice.
Sending to one Malaysia. So confirmed.
Nice. Safely arrived in Malaysia. Continue the journey to Australia. Sending to Luke. Confirm.
Received. There you go. All right. Sending from Australia back to Ireland. hit confirm.
Don't.
Brilliant.
There you
Brilliant.
go.
Ah,
Around the
brilliant.
world.
I got my Caspa back.
And
So
how
does
much
that-
Caspa did you end up with after that?
Oh, 9.9885.
There you go.
But that's because we did this a lot of
How many
practice
times?
runs before the original one. Yeah, about 6 or something. Yeah. Yeah. So does that prove that Caspa is the fastest proof of work in the world?
Yeah, fastest.
Yeah,
No,
it's really.
no doubts.
Faster than the speed of light.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
200
the way around the world before Bitcoin confirms
Nothing.
one transaction.
That's it.
Really?
So, I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So shout out to CryptoPumps for setting all that up, and I was, proud to be the United States representative for that video. But it's kind of a good visual to get an idea of how quick, fast, cheap you can send anywhere in the world, no matter where it is in the world, without any permissions, and how instant it is, right? Because we did, roughly 8 transactions in that small little video, which was under a minute long, right? And we were talking for some of it, so, we're probably 30 seconds worth of sending back and forth. And in that same amount of time, Bitcoin is not even going to be beginning its, finality on the other end of its transaction. And so I think that is the biggest selling point, to something like Caspa, where it has the same principles as Bitcoin, right? It's proof of work, and it's 100% fair launched, and no pre-mine, no nothing, and it can be sent from country to country to country to country in a matter of seconds for 35 transactions total, right? Because we did some practice transactions before that, was less than 1 cent. So for 35 transactions, it was less than 1 cent, and we sent it all the way around the world 7 or 8 times for, within a matter of seconds. And so Bitcoin, as good as it is, and, first mover, it's just not scalable, and it's just not cheap to transact with. And so I think that's where Caspa is going to come in at some point, and we're kind of already seeing that with some of the Bitcoin maxis. And I feel like maybe I'm just in an echo chamber or a bubble of, Caspa, but it feels like we're gaining some steam as far as adoption goes, right? Time will tell, but even the people that, there's some big names out there that are talking about, Caspa and XRP being shitcoins in the same sentence, and that you should stick with Bitcoin. And the fact that Caspa is even being mentioned by the Bitcoin maxis alongside of XRP is, I would say, good marketing nonetheless, whether it be positive or negative, right? Because some people are going to see stuff like that and wonder, what is Caspa? Why is this guy mentioning it in his comments? You know what I mean? And so I think we are on the right path. And you got to remember, Caspa's only 3 years old. So it's in its first bull cycle, and it's relatively very new to the space. So I think that as time goes on, as crypto in general gets bigger and more adopted, and Bitcoin, Sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me decline this. And Bitcoin, people realize that Bitcoin is not efficient, and it's not cheap to transact with. They're going to want something that you can transact with that's cheap and fast. And anybody who, comes into crypto for the right principles as far as, hard money and permissionless money, Caspa is the only alternative, because everything else is basically proof of stake and centralized. Or the few that aren't are still not as cheap nor as fast nor as secure as Caspa. So, TED Talk over, but I thought it was a cool idea, cool video. Make sure you go give Crypto Pumps some love as well. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, make sure you do that. He's got a lot of good ideas, good content over there. Let's move on to smart contracts, because we have got a countdown here of 22 days, 23 hours, 46 minutes, and 3 seconds. You guys can go look at this countdown live if you would like to. Deployed by Casplex, but cas.live is the... you can't see it on here, but cas.live is where you guys can go watch this. It's not fun to sit here and watch it, but you can at least check here and there to see when smart contracts are coming out and the progress that they're making. So I wanted to kind of remind everybody that there's some big things coming around the corner, right, with Caspa. And smart contracts are going to be huge, in my opinion, because I think what's going to happen is the stablecoin market is going to slowly work its way over to Caspa. And if we look, I don't know if you guys saw my video earlier today, but I'm going to run over this real quick with everyone. Wallet number 2 has bought another 1.5 million Caspa, and yesterday bought, it was 9. Yeah, yesterday 9.1 million, right? And if you add, well, technically it was more than that. It was like 11 million. No, it was 14 million, because they had another transaction worth 5 million. So wallet number 2 has added another roughly 14 million Caspa over the last 2 days. And then wallet number 5 is another one that we're starting to look at, because they didn't add anything today. Can you guys even see that? Yeah, you can. Well, almost. I'm sitting here talking and my screen's not even really showing. So wallet number 5 yesterday added 65.3 million Caspa. Think about that for a second. In US dollars, that's worth $6.1 million. So in one transaction, they bought $6 million worth of Caspa. 65 million Caspa. So it leads me to my next point. The whales are buying, which means we're probably not going into a bear market yet. Okay? Wallet number 5 is not going to buy 65.3 million Caspa yesterday if they think that the market is just going to go down. Okay? It's very simple. You swim with the whales. You buy when the whales buy, and you sell when the whales sell. And if you do that, you follow wallet addresses, you follow the money, you can do very well in this market. It's that simple. And right now, Caspa whales are buying, which in turn means I'm buying, and which in turn means you should probably be buying. Not financial advice. Something big seems to be right around the corner. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Maybe it's leading up to a tier 1 exchange listing. Wallet number 5, I have no idea who it is, but it's another wallet that is starting to accumulate a ton of Caspa. I would imagine it's not going to be wallet 5 for very long. It's probably going to move into wallet 4. Yeah, it's 100 million behind wallet 4 and a few hundred million behind wallet 3. So 2 and 5 are actively accumulating a ton of Caspa. Could they be exchanges? Could they be market makers? Probably one of those two scenarios. And we will probably find out at some point who they are. All of this guessing will, be brought to light, and we will know who they are. But it's fun to speculate right now. Next is I want to go over one quick thing that's not Caspa specific, but obviously it's crypto, which Caspa is going to benefit from. So it's all related when it's all said and done. But let's take a look at this photo again, because this is one of the most important photos that there is in the space. This is exactly how a crypto bull run works, okay? Based on history. I guess some things could change, who knows? But you always have phase 1, which is Bitcoin season, okay? If you guys remember, the last number of months has been Bitcoin only, up, right? Phase 2 is Ethereum season. What's happening right now? Literally right before our eyes. Bitcoin is starting to Ethereum is starting to outperform Bitcoin. And we can look at that literally right here. This is the ETH Bitcoin chart. And if you look right here, it's putting in massive green candles after massive green candles, which means it's massively right now outperforming Bitcoin, okay? Look at this right here. This was, where's my little marker here? This is Ethereum not outperforming Bitcoin, right? For the last 2 years, or 3 years even. That is Bitcoin not outperforming. That is Ethereum, not outperforming Bitcoin. This right here is a massive sign that we are moving into phase 2 potentially of this bull cycle, which is Ethereum season, okay? And that needs to happen. This is all relevant. We can like Ethereum or not like Ethereum, but we need Ethereum to pump because it is the biggest altcoin, and it gives the other altcoins the confidence to pump with it. You notice during this time that Ethereum has been pumping and outperforming Bitcoin, other altcoins have started to wake up, right? They're not actually performing as well as Ethereum yet, but that comes in phase 3 and 4. So we need to get through phase 2 first, where Ethereum is the most dominant project in the space, okay? Now, if we look at phase 3, it's large caps. It's like the top 10, 20 coins, XRP, Cardano. Some new coins will move up into that space. Probably typically some new ones in this cycle. Could be Caspa. Those will start then outperforming Ethereum at some point here, okay? And then phase 4, we go into full-blown alt season where everything is going absolutely apeshit. And all of your micro caps and lower cap altcoins are actually outperforming the large caps and Ethereum and Bitcoin, while Bitcoin dominance is just collapsing, okay? There is some overlap in between these, so it's not going to happen, in a vacuum, right? You're going to have some large caps probably go up with Ethereum and vice versa. There's some overlap in between these phases, but we're seeing very clear signs right now that Ethereum is starting to wake up, starting to outperform Bitcoin, and we're starting to enter this phase 2 of the cycle. And like clockwork, every single cycle it happens the same way, even though it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, okay? The same exact things that are being said right now this cycle were said last cycle as well. The exact same things you hear, all the FUD that you hear, it's the exact same thing every cycle. And then what happens? Things typically domino effect the exact same way they do in previous cycles. History repeats, and then we go back into a bear market after this, alt season happens. And so I'm not going to bet against history at this point. You're going to have a lot of people telling you that this is going to be a super cycle, that we're not going to top out by the end of this year, that we're going to top out next year, which I guess is a possibility, so we can't rule that out yet, right? We could extend a little bit, but last year, same scenario, everybody was talking about extended cycles, and it just didn't happen. So we got to be very cautious and watch the market very closely so that we can be on top of what's going on and look at risk metrics and make sure that we are taking profits along the way, especially when things get really heated, probably towards the end of this year. So, like I say, be on your toes. This is the time to start being very active, watching the market every single day, getting very familiar with what's going on, so that you are ready, have a plan in place, so that when things get to a certain point, things get heated, top indicators start to flash, then we are ready to take profits while all of the newcomers and retail are flocking in to buy the top. Unfortunately, that's what happens. People get wrecked. We make money, right? Rinse and repeat. Same thing will happen the following cycle. Some of those people that get wrecked this cycle by buying the top will stick around, and they will be the ones that are selling to retail the following cycle. And it literally just goes on and on and on, okay? In my first cycle, I was the same way. I round-tripped all my bags back down, just like most people do in their first cycle. It's not fun to do that. So just keep in mind that it feels like we're entering phase 2 right now, and things are going to start probably getting pretty crazy pretty fast. And remember, that does not mean that we're going to go straight to the moon tomorrow. There will be more downside. The Fed hasn't cut rates yet. Man, my phone is blowing up. So there's still going to be some choppiness, I would imagine. But just think of it like this. The cars have started their engines, and they're just getting warmed up, right? They still might have to reverse out of the driveway before they go up the street, right? But all in all, it's getting closer, so be on your toes. All right. I think that's all I wanted to go over today, except for the fact that KASPA is actually pumping. Because I think, let me make sure it's actually still pumping, so that I'm actually saying the right thing. Let's come up here and we'll go to KASPA. 9.3. Yeah, we're up 14, almost 15% today. So we're still pumping. I'm not just blowing smoke. The first stream ever on this channel where KASPA has actually been pumping. Hopefully we see more of that moving into the future here. Okay. Let's get into some of these comments here. Wyatt, yo, KDK, feeling great for Caspa, mate. Smash the thumbs up, like button, Caspians. You heard it. Wyatt is telling everybody to hit that like button, and you don't want to disappoint Wyatt. Please don't disappoint Wyatt. Hello from Japan. I apologize. I have no idea what your name is. Japanese characters, but I appreciate you hanging out. What time is it in Japan right now, I wonder? Actually, my fiance's, one of her brothers lives in Japan. I still haven't been there, though. It'd be nice to go one day, if I could ever get myself on an airplane. Abel, what's going on? Thanks for coming back, hanging out. Man from Bogota, feeling great. Let me know if I'm saying that right. Bogota? Or is it Bogota? I feel weird saying it because I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. Just saw the video of you guys transferring Caspa around the world. It gave me so many emotions. I really hope Caspa succeeds. Planning to make Caspa content in Spanish. Oh, nice. Right on, man. Let me know when you start your channel up and we can maybe do something together. Although, do you speak English? You probably do. You're typing in English, so I'm assuming you speak English. But that's cool. That's a good idea. The What Ups, welcome back. I appreciate you coming back and hanging out. Already paid the bar tab. It's good to see you again, kicking back with the green tea as usual. I'm excited to do the same during alt season with bags packed, absolutely. And I have got my green tea as well today. Just iced tea. Speaking of that, I'll take a sip. Yeah, and the What Ups paid his bar tab, so look in the mirror if you guys paid yours. Like button, subscribe button. Why wouldn't you want a chance to win 10,000 Caspa for free? Right? Hitting the subscribe button's free. And when the time comes, when 10,000 subscribers, when we reach that goal, all 10,000 people are not going to actually enter in to win. So you're going to have a better chance. It's only the people that actually enter the contest at that point. And based on history, only a fraction of people enter. So you'll have a really good chance, you know, probably at that point in time. Better than 1 in 10,000 chance, I'll tell you that, to win. So who doesn't want free Caspa? I mean, come on. Cas is the future. So pumped for smart contracts and stablecoins. Yes. I think I just froze. Did I freeze? I'm back. I don't know what just happened. Yeah, I think stablecoins are going to be huge. At least I vision in my head that stablecoins are going to be absolutely huge on Caspa. And again, I think I mentioned this last live stream, but I made a transaction in stablecoins, a swap from USDT to Caspa, actually, on the Tron network in my Tangem wallet, and the fee was like $7, which is kind of expensive. So desperately need something cheaper, and Tron is like the place that people go to transact stablecoins, and it's not that cheap. The speed is okay, but it's not that cheap. So I imagine once it becomes a thing where people, you know, Hopefully it's like a snowball effect, domino effect. You know, where people are telling people, hey, you can transact in stable coins over here for a fraction of a cent, and it's instantaneous, right? You don't have to pay those $7 to $10 fees every single time. I would imagine that people would want that, right? Because you're saving money. It seems like common sense, although nowadays common sense isn't all that common. It seems. So we'll see. I'm assuming, Jose, you were talking about the transaction video. Well, yeah, that was fun to make. Even though I'm not a morning person, and I just told everybody to set up times, and I'll just adapt to whatever. And it was 6 a.m. And so it was rough for me to get up this morning. I don't like getting up early. But anything for the Caspa community. Hey, Sugar Lump, what's going on? Thanks for coming back and hanging out. Yeah, Blazier. Caspa genuinely has the ability to bank the unbanked. It does. It does, because it's instantaneous. Like, I can't stress that enough. Instantaneous and very cheap to transact, and there's no middleman at all. At all. You feel free. Justin, what's up? Caspa is going to be legendary, and we are the legends. Yeah, I mean, think about this. Think about the scenario, right? We all think this is probably going to happen, or at least has a chance to happen. What if Caspa? What if we're sitting here 10 years from now, and Caspa is like number 2 underneath Bitcoin? Bitcoin's still number 1 because it's store of value and it was, first mover. But what if Caspa's number 2 on CoinMarketCap, and it's got a bigger market cap than Ethereum, it's got a bigger market cap than Solana, it's got a bigger market cap than XRP, and it's like literally the thing. Like, it's commonplace, where if you mention it out on the street, even somebody who doesn't know crypto, like you mentioned Bitcoin right now, people still know the name. What if Caspa becomes that? We can say we were here from literally almost day one. That would be awesome if that actually happens. And I think it has a chance. The community is amazing, and the marketing that the community itself does is pretty amazing. Word of mouth, grassroots. Some of the best things in life have come out of that without paid marketing. It's more trustworthy. It's more relatable. It just gives people a better feeling. Who is wallet number 5? I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. I would imagine a market maker, or I would imagine an exchange. Or maybe 2 and 5 are the same people, which would be absolutely ridiculous, because that means they would own a hell of a lot of Caspa. And whoever it is has a hell of a lot of money. Be nice to be in their shoes one day, huh? What do you think about Casplex? Been seeing some FUD about them lately on crypto Twitter. What kind of FUD have you been seeing? Because they're the ones that are behind the smart contracts that are coming out in the next 22 days. I haven't actually seen any FUD necessarily, so I don't know what you're talking about. It could just be haters from other communities. I don't know why everybody's so tribal. Jason, can you show a chart where ETH and ADA were at the same market cap as CAS before they went up? I mean, we can look at like their actual charts and find the point in time where they were at roughly a $3 billion market cap. That is possible. Because wow, that's going to be way down below for ETH. Let me pull this up on screen real quick, and we can look. Actually, let me put this full screen. I'm going to take myself off for a second so that you guys can see it better. So Ethereum actually, I don't know how to change this to market cap. Let's just go over here real quick to ETH. And Ethereum's market cap was at, jeez, 300,000. Oh no, 300 billion. Yeah, it was way down here. So ETH in its first bull cycle ever topped out at 5.7. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's 120 billion. So 3 billion. I'm looking at 24-hour volume. 28 billion. Yeah, 3 billion's on this flat line down here. It's like right before it starts to go up. Somewhere right in here. And so you think about this flat line right here. Although that keeps getting in the way. This is what happened afterwards. And in its first cycle it went up to 123 billion, which wouldn't be out of the question necessarily for Caspa this cycle, in my opinion. Because remember, the top L1s last cycle topped out around 80 to 100 billion. And the whole entire space is going to be bigger this time around, right? There's going to be more money in here, so the total market cap is going to go up, which means that, individual projects are going to be worth more this cycle. The top L1s, in theory, should be worth more, and Caspa has a chance to be in that running. We'll see as time goes by here, but Cardano is sitting, let's go to its all-time, and it was at 3 billion market cap, probably way down here. Yeah, so right before its first run up to this peak, like right down here at this first little mountain after the flat line, that was ADA at 3 billion. So, that was its first cycle, and then way up here for its second cycle. And so you can see the growth that it had. Both of them had. And I would imagine Caspa is going to do roughly the same thing, right? The price point that we're at right now is going to look like a flat line at some point when we go back in history and look at it. And we're getting in at this flat line right here. Right, if we zoomed into that, there'd probably be a bunch of ups and downs like we're experiencing right now on a KASPA chart. But we haven't even experienced this yet. We haven't had a bull cycle. We haven't had an altcoin season, parabolic run with KASPA yet. So it's literally, we don't have anything to base it on necessarily as far as previous cycles go, comparing it to itself. So we're kind of just, guessing at what it's going to do. And then wherever it tops out this cycle, we'll have a better idea of where it can go next cycle based on some history, right? Because it's been through a cycle. But I don't know if that really answers what you wanted me to do. I can maybe make a dedicated, more detailed video on something like that, but as of right now, let's see here. Okay. Michael Saylor has talked about KASPA before without mentioning Cass's name as such. Is he one of the huge wallets? Probably. He is smart, man. Yeah, I've mentioned this before because it's interesting. And I know for a fact Michael Saylor probably knows what KASPA is. I just don't know how open-minded he is. He seems like he might not be able to get his brain out of the Bitcoin box. But I don't know that for sure. If we found out that Michael Saylor has been accumulating KASPA, then that opens up Pandora's box as far as potential respect for the project. He's going to get a lot of hate, which is maybe why he hasn't said anything if he is accumulating, because you're going to have 3/4 of the Bitcoin community literally disown him at first. Maybe some of them slowly come around after the fact, but it's going to be like a punch in the face at first, I would imagine. If I were to take a guess, though, I would probably say he does not own KASPA as just my initial thought process. I feel like he is stuck in a box of Bitcoin and he won't be able to see outside of that box. But maybe I'm wrong. It would be interesting at some point to see that. Okay, so my comments aren't loading on my OBS. I might not be able to put any more on screen yet, but I'll still read some. Justin says, I'll take some free KASPA. I'm sure you will, Justin. Do you think KASPA, Life is Sweet, says, do you think KASPA will hit $3 this cycle? I think $3 is my top end target. If we get some tier 1 exchanges, my baseline would be $1. But I think it's definitely possible if everything goes right. Earl Shipley says he's got over 1 million KASPA, which is a very solid bag. Very good chance you're going to hit $1 million out of that, in my opinion, or get very close. Just in time. Old crypto granny here. In the 4% who are over 70 years old. Wow. Welcome. Welcome. End time. Hopefully your time's not ending that soon. But that's awesome. A lot of people your age don't have quite as open of a mind. Stuck in their old ways. Even I find myself doing that sometimes with the newer generations that have come around. I'm like, things were so much better back then. You know, you don't want to adapt to any of the new stuff. You like the stuff you grew up with. Yeah, I don't know why this comment stuff isn't loading on my end here. Where I can show it on screen. That was the last one, but there's a ton more over here on the other end. TP hand. Cas, Injective, Algo, Morpho, Psi, Mavia, Bonk. 1.4 million Cas is my biggest bag. Awesome, man. Yeah, there's no issues with having other projects for sure. And you're going to have, you know, depending on who you talk to, is going to tell you not to invest in certain projects, but you got to do your own research. Invest in what you think you're going to make money in, and then, you know, I would the fact that you have 1.4 million Caspa as your biggest bag is solid, in my opinion. And then you just mess around with some other stuff that might give you more X's. Cash it all out at the top of the cycle, and boom, boom, boom. Make some money. Brandon Swihart. Hello, Cat Daddy. First time caller, long time listener. I appreciate you commenting. And welcome in. Thanks for hanging out. Matt says, nice to see you on a Friday night. Profit Google says, Cas is awesome. I love it. I sold 240K when we hit 10.5 cents last time because it is basically down massive from all-time high. Did you buy back in when we went back down to 7 and 8 cents out of curiosity? Or did you just take profits? And that was that. There is a saying that you've probably heard before. You never go broke taking profits. So you can't hate on anybody for taking profits, even though it may or may not be too early. Paul Clinton says Cas is the same price it was over 21 months. Yep. And the longer things consolidate, the longer the spring compresses typically, and the bigger blast off you get when it finally gets released. Jay Rummy says, when are you going to take profits on Caspa? That's hard to say. I don't really have a select date, obviously. I'm watching the markets very closely, and I've got my finger on a bunch of top indicators, which, by the way, I'm going to be making a video very soon, a more detailed video. It hasn't been put out yet because it's going to take a little bit more time to make, on what kind of top indicators that you should be looking for, what time frames the top of the market usually tops out at, how many days in between, having and top out, typically over, history of cycles. And so we can kind of ballpark an idea of when we, what we should be looking out for, as well as when we should be really paying attention to, potentially starting to take some profits. So that should be, that video should be coming out in the next couple weeks. So it's hard to tell. If I were to just guess, as of right now, it would probably be like Q4 of this year, unless something changes, right? If top signals and aren't firing and we're not getting overheated, maybe we get a slightly extended cycle. Some of that might, be based on macro scenarios. And so I'm just going to be playing it by ear. But if I were to take a guess based on previous cycles, we really got to be paying attention Q4 this year, which is right around the corner, by the way. Don Carlos, all it takes is one influential person or brand, and it's game over. We had it with Mara mining it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but you're right. It's only going to take, one of something huge to happen, and we could do very well. The whole thing with Mara, as good as that is, basically they said that they're mining Caspa because it's more profitable. They're taking profits on Caspa and buying more Bitcoin. But they're not selling all of their Caspa, but most people thought that is a bearish scenario because they think that they're just dumping 100% of their Caspa back into Bitcoin, which is actually not necessarily beneficial for Caspa itself. But Wolfie has stated that he has talked to them, and they're not selling 100% of their Caspa. They're only selling a percentage of it. It might be a larger percentage than they're keeping, but they are still keeping some, from what he understands. And so the narrative was, oh, well, it's not even bullish anymore because they're selling it all just to buy more Bitcoin, but that's not 100% the case. Lexi, we will have alt season in 2026 probably, the beginning. We don't have rate cuts too much. There is no retail, only in BTC, all money. Yeah, but remember it starts in BTC and then it'll start flowing over once altcoins start moving a little bit. It's possible because of macro conditions. It's possible that we do go into early 2026. Which is why I'm not definitively saying that Q4 is going to be the top 100%. But based on history, that's typically the top, which is why we've got to be really paying attention to what the market looks like and everything during Q4 of this year. And if, signs are pointing towards the cycle extending a little bit, then we pivot at that point. But if things are super overextended and, the Fed is cut multiple times at that point and we see retail pouring in, your Uber driver starts asking you about crypto, and you start seeing these top signals flashing, then I would be very, very careful about going into 2026. So it's all being played by ear. But there's a chance you are correct there. Paul says there's usually a Christmas slowdown. The cycle tops will likely all be in by the 20th of December. I'm going to ladder out my 1.2 million Caspa starting in October, as long as Binance is listed. Yeah, and that's another thing. if tier 1s start to list Caspa in Q4 and the price starts going crazy and you're planning on taking profits in your Caspa, I would slowly start DCAing out. You don't have to take your whole entire bag and dump it into stable coins at that point, but take some profits as we've got like the huge hype cycle of tier 1 exchanges. Usually all of that stuff kind of, fires off at the same time. And they do that on purpose to create a parabolic phase for a month or two, and then boom, it's all over. We fall off a cliff. Franny says, everyone's talking about an extended cycle. Don't think it's going to go past November 25th. But will rate cuts going down and economy getting better, the money should flow into crypto. And again, that's a possibility. In 2017, remember, rates were getting raised, and we still had an alt season at the end of that year, and actually into January of, I think Ethereum ran into January of 2018 that year. The thing is, nobody really knows. I would say the top is probably going to be Q4, November, December, or early, maybe January of 2026. But nobody knows for sure, and we've just got to monitor it as we go. There's a solid chance that we do top out in November or December. And I still think that it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It depends on how much they've cut rates and what the sentiment is at that point in time. So that's why I can't definitively say what's going to happen. It's all speculative, and we just have to play it by ear. We have to be on our toes. We have to be ready. And on that note, guys, it is 6 o'clock over here, so I am going to head out. Got to go get some dinner. I'm getting hungry. I appreciate everybody for hanging out. Remember to hit that subscribe button and the like button. Pay your bar tabs on the way out, as well as hitting that subscribe button and being subscribed will get you entered into winning 10,000 Caspa when we get to 10,000 subscribers. Just a reminder. So, love you all. Thanks for hanging out. In the meantime, guys, continue to pack your damn bags before it's too late. I'll see you.